What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really does mean a lot to me, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Yourself has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Now, the theme of this week's monthly spread is going to be self-growth, Gemini, and all the ways that you can embody the best version of yourself. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems. Feeling good. Just good energy all around here, Gemini. Now, with this self-growth spread, shaking things up a little bit. You know, I'm just going to be going until higher self said stop. You know, just been feeling just a change in the air, Gemini. So we're just going to work with the energies. And you know, I got some really awesome news because I just met this this lovely Sagittarius over the weekend. She has a Gemini moon, so we had a lot to talk about. My moon's in Gemini as well. And she got me this amazing Oracle deck. So we're going to be really doing some cool stuff here, Gemini, from here on out. So the decks that I'm using are one is the Astro Matrix Tarot deck. And the other deck that I'm going to be using is the Anatomy of a Witch Tarot deck. And I've included a link or at least I'm going to include a link for this deck and other decks that I like using down in the description box below. So definitely check that out if that interests you, Gemini. But let's go ahead and start getting into your reading. Oh, not that whole stack. But yeah, let's go ahead and start getting into your reading here. And if I'm looking just right off the bat here, you know, I'm getting that we've been in this place of where, you know, maybe some of us, we've gotten out of some kind of like either like a relationship in the past, or I feel like, you know, we've been in this place of where I feel like we might have been putting ourselves kind of second for a little while there, and now we're rising above this thing. You know, I feel like there's been something that has been kind of constricting you in the sense of just like maybe this has been a person, you know, maybe this has been or this could be like a situation, you know, maybe we're tied down by like some type of financial thing. But I'm getting that, start here. I'm getting that there's something that's going on to where, you know, maybe you went to go present something, you know, maybe you had this idea of like, let's say for example at work, you know, maybe you had this like really great idea, you went to go kind of pitch something and it wasn't met with any sort of support, you know, just like, Gemini, what are you thinking? You know, just sort of like, they're just kind of been sort of shot down. And, you know, I feel like maybe we're at this place of where we're wanting to break free from, I don't want to say like, you know, necessarily like quit your job, you know, but I feel like maybe we're at least in this place of where we just kind of want to free up our space, you know, where we're not feeling where we don't have to answer to anyone. So you might be thinking about it. You know, maybe we're thinking about maybe wanting to start our own business. Maybe we want to go part-time, you know, with this job, you know. But I feel like an urge for just like freedom is coming here. You know, I think we've been in this place of where maybe we're tired of the old ways of operating. You know, it's been just like, I feel like whatever situation has popped up here, this is the one that's just like, you know what, enough is enough. It's the straw that broke the camel's back. And now we're at this place of just like, all right, I'm over it. You know, if it's not something that you're feeling, you know, that if it's not promoting your growth, you know, because I feel like we're in this place of where it's just like we need to do stuff, we have to do stuff, but it's just like, what do you want to do? And I feel like that's where some of us might be at, Gemini. It's like we're at this place of like, what do I want to do? You know, I feel like maybe we've been catering to people for too long, or, you know, maybe something along those lines, but I'm getting almost like a kind of like a fed up type of vibe here, you know. I think that we're thinking about just where we want to distribute our energies from here on out. You know, we've been in this place, and I feel like that's good one on you, Gemini, because, you know, I feel like, you know, when we're told that, oh, I thought I saw another one in there. Guess not. Okay. But I feel like sometimes we get in this place of where, you know, we get told, like, for example, like the American dream, you know, it's like, you know, it's getting that white picket fence, you know, your 2.5 kids, dog, you know, just all of that. But I really think that we're realizing that, you know, one glove doesn't fit all, and how we can go to getting that security. There are illimitable ways of going about getting your fulfillment here. And I feel like it's about journeying in and finding that, Gemini. If this is something where if we've been feeling like we've had enough, or, you know, we're ready for a change here. Ain't that right, Da Vinci? We're ready for a change. If we've been feeling like, you know, this is something that we want to grow on and expand, you know, I say, Gemini, explore that, you know, especially this Sagittarius card here. And I feel like, you know, this is about, you know, getting, funny to talk about Sagittarius, but it's about, you know, expanding and growing and, oh no, don't eat that, about expanding and growing and being the best version of ourselves. Because here's the thing, if we're keeping ourselves in this box of where we've been feeling like maybe we've been supporting someone else's dream, you know, I feel like it's where that's great for them, you know, like if we're not getting anything back from that, you know, I feel like, you know, when it comes to work, you know, and all of that, it should be something that it's fulfilling all of your needs, you know. It's like, you know, it's not about like keeping someone on top. It's just about all of us growing together, you know, and whatever that looks like, you know, and however we want to do that growth. But if we get into this place of where things, you know, have stagnated, where we've been feeling like it's just like the same old, you know, it's just like routine, you know, there's just like the growth has stopped, then Gemini, that's a sign to keep it moving. Because here's the thing, you know, your sign too is very, you know, you're considered one of one of the social, I think the most social of the zodiac. And I feel like Gemini, you know, with your energy, it's about, you need that freedom, you know, and it's not that you can't commit to something, but it's just like there's a need for more. You know, when I think about Gemini energy, it's voracious in its consumption to want to expand and to understand and to grow. And I feel like, you know, we need to be, and especially Gemini, you know, we need to be in a place, but it's so funny, I actually was just telling Sagittarius something similar, that, you know, you're going to do your best work when you experience life, you know. There's this, I feel like if we try to get into this place of where we just kind of feel just sort of like tied down, or we're not getting any sort of like extra stimulus, you know, or stimulating effects or something along those lines, you know, if you're not growing or not learning or something like that, then it's going to keep this imbalance, you know. It's going to get you to this place of where you're just going to feel frustrated in life, you know. We're going to get kind of bitter with things, you know, and where we just kind of like lash out. And I don't know, Gemini, I feel like that there's something that's going on with this. I feel like there's a need to journey out and really kind of find yourself. You know, I'm getting that, yeah, 10 of Pentacles. You know, I feel like it's about getting to this place, I think redefining what your future looks like, Gemini. You know, I feel like if we've been into this place of, I feel like if this is something to where you've been trying to fit into this type of box, or, you know, I feel like go around it, you know. Let's make a new box, you know, a new kind of establishment, or establish a new foundation. Because, you know, I think, and when I even think about, well, I'm talking about Sagittarius energy with the Temperance being here, you know, Sagittarius is the opposite sign to you. And there, you know, Sagittarius has to deal with like long-term travels, and I think Gemini more so ties into like, you know, that energy is tying into like short-term travels. So this could be something too, you know, if we don't want to, maybe flying's not your jam, or maybe you're not the type that maybe you can't, like, where maybe money doesn't make sense to do any, like, crazy travel. It doesn't have to be anything super wild, Gemini. It could be something as even as starting as, like, maybe going to, like, a city around you that you've never been to. You heard about it, you may have passed through, but just, like, see what's around there. Go there, go do something different. Go stop by the grocery store there. You don't have to just stay there long, but just do something that I maybe would just kind of, like, liven things up a little bit, because I do feel like things have gotten too stale, and now we're just kind of missing out on opportunities. We're just sort of, like, coasting on by, and we're not manifesting. We're not creating here, because here's your ruler. This is Mercury here. And, now and you know what? I feel like, going within, really now, because Mercury rules both you and Virgo. And since you got Virgo's card here, I'm getting extra emphasis on just venturing, doing some soul searching, doing something that you want to do. And you know what? Do it too, like, if this is something like you can do by yourself, I say do it by yourself. If not, if you got, like, a family, take your family with you. But just something to where you're getting out and doing something. Keep that one. Okay. And just going out where we're going out and, like, doing something, Gemini, because that's where that's the easiest way to get kind of where we're uninspired too. Because if we don't have if we're staying around the same type of stuff, we're going from home to work from home, maybe doing the same type of, like, eating places in between if we're going out. But if we get to this place of just, like, where it's just, like, it's monotony every day, then I really feel like, yeah, then there's nothing that is being, there's nothing being learned. There's no type, because this is your card, Gemini, the King of Swords. There's no wisdom that's being accumulated. We're just stagnant. We're stuck in, like, the metamorphosis where it's time to go out there and go be bold and go live life to the fullest. Go see what life has to offer. Hold on, Gemini, we're keeping this thing going. Go make new experiences for yourself, Go do something out, just out of it. And again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It can be just something out of the norm. If you have a certain way, let's say, like, if you go for a walk and you have, like, a certain way that you walk, switch up the path that you do. If you have a certain way of going to the grocery store, change up the direction that you go from that way. Try going down this path, or going from around there. Sure, it may add a little extra time to your trip, but it makes it so that you're present, because that's one thing too. When we get into this place of where we're just, like, get on autopilot for a while, sometimes, you do something and you kind of check in. It's just like, wait a minute, what was I doing? Like, how did I get all this done? Oh, okay. But that's a weird place to be, Gemini. I feel like we should be able to recall where we've been at any given point in time. It's this is going to be one, Gemini. I feel like, where it may sound like a lot, I think this is going to be like a lot of fun for you. I think you and Sagittarius are going to have a lot of fun with your self-growth, in the sense, like, because I feel like yours is just about going to live life a little bit more. It's about, and I think that in the living of life, that's going to shine some light on some ways, some areas that you need to grow, that are asking for your attention, but it's just we've been so here in, like, our space, we've kind of, like, built like, we have how we're going to go about our days each day. You probably got it down to, like, what you're going to eat in the evenings, like, for, like, the week, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's time where routine is good. I think it's about finding a balance, especially for you, Gemini. Just when I think about your energy, it's very free energy. And that's something too. I'm a huge fan of routines. I love structure and all of that. But I found that with my moon being in Gemini, sometimes, like, yes, I need that structure. When I need it, like, it's necessary for, like, checklist and things. Oh yeah, I got all the checklists. But when I was finding that, like, as far as, like, communicating and stuff, and that gets into a different kind of realm, but I know that I lean very heavy into like the Gemini moon side of me, and it's like, it can be, like when I'm all over the place, it's just, it's about that focus, or it's about, finding different ways to appease that. Sometimes it's like keeping that variety. It's like there are times when structure is good, and there are some times when you need to kind of free things up a little bit and allow yourself to just sort of express yourself and to just kind of be in the moment and not really be thinking about anything, or like, or just allow yourself to just kind of be, if that makes sense. I really feel like that, because now we got your destiny here. We got Wheel of Fortune. And I think that there's something to be found in this, in these journeys that you hopefully will start taking. And something too, Gemini, I was thinking about, even when we think about like our kids and stuff, because I've got friends who have kids, and some of them tell me like they'll watch for their kids. This is something that definitely applies for them too. Start them, like, when you understanding your energies and understanding the energies that they're working with, this can help them as well. Because I feel like Geminis, and I think I might have mentioned this to Sagittarius too. So allow those kids to be kind of free, to experience, and again, something bigger than just like Disney World. Let them see around their block. Let them see around their city, take them to different areas around. Like we can have fun wherever you're going, because the kid's just going to be excited just to be going along with you to see something new. That too will provide you with, like, your kids are getting excited, they're providing that new energy, they're making what you're doing more exciting. It can work out for everybody here. But see, I feel like if we're not expanding, then we're not growing. We're not getting any type of skills here. And then this Wheel of Fortune is just sort of sitting, because this is dope. This little energy that you're bringing me here, Gemini, this is a little dope pocket here of what you're doing anymore. But I feel like that it's just about experiencing more stuff here. I'm going to get a couple clarifiers, Gemini. I think I want to clarify that one as well. So I'm going to clarify the Four of Cups. You got Four of Cups in reverse here, Eight of Wands in reverse, and then the Judgment card. Those three I think I want a little bit more on. Let's start with the Four of Cups, Higher Self. And because here, with those, when I think about those energies, I feel like it's, at least with the Four of Cups, it's about like the universe kind of reaching out for you. Providing you with like opportunities, like saying like, hey, you're saying you're good here, but these cups are about empty, and I have some other opportunities for you. It's about opening yourselves up to the universe, Gemini, because there's abundance to be had here. Like when the universe is reaching out to us and like, setting us, getting these signals and stuff, it's trying to guide us towards this destiny here anymore. Get more on this Eight of Wands, but it's like, trying to guide us towards our destiny here, but it's about, again, finding that balance in life, and if things aren't working for you, finding a way to make them work for you. Find out what's working and then fixing it. Let's just not just be in this place where we just keep stuff not working, or where we're just like compromising, where it's just like, oh, well, I want to make time for blah, 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 and this and that, but, I got this to do, and I got this to do, and I have this to do. And it's just like, well, make some time for stuff that you want to do, like that's, and I don't get why we have to compromise on that, because here's the thing, because with that Eight of Wands, you got Justice card. And the Eight of Wands for me, it's like, not even just like too pausing, but just like, sometimes things are coming in slow, I feel like it's the inspiration has stalled. And I feel like it's because we haven't been doing anything, or we've just been doing the same old thing. If we want inspiration to come in, it's time to get out of this nightmare, because really, Nine of Wands is like reliving a situation over and over and over and over and over again. And it doesn't even necessarily, when I think about it, it doesn't even necessarily have to be about, just like bad stuff we're going in. This really could just be the routine of life, because it really is. It's just like, when you're in the shower, you're thinking about it's the same old stuff. It's just like, it's no matter what it's like watching a sitcom, like you see, like this for what show am I thinking of, for example, like watching, if you're familiar with this show, like Roseanne, it's like if you watched all of season 1, and then it's like watching all of season 1 again, and that's just like your life. You got like the same kind of funny little pockets here, but you already know how this is going to go, so you just kind of check out, and then next thing you know, you're just kind of, time is going by, and what have we done in that time? Nothing's happened, so the scales haven't moved, so hopefully this is making sense, Gemini. We're getting to, let's get to the transformation. Because I feel like when we start taking action on this thing, I really think your life is going to start really, really brightening up here. And Gemini, if we're thinking that travel is too expensive, because I get it, like gas is might be kind of high where you're at. I'll tell you what though, I was just, when I went to go see some family in not too long ago, and flights were cheap. Round trip from Illinois to Florida, it was surprisingly reasonable. So it's one of those things, you never know what's going on there. It's you'd be surprised, Gemini. And I really do too think it doesn't even have to be as something as extravagant as like a Disney World or like a national park. It could just really just even be switching up anymore there. It could be just something as simple as switching up your routine, or switching up your routes, maybe even like what you make for breakfast. If you have like the same type of stuff, maybe even switching up that, just something to add some variety in your life anymore. And I think once we understand that and really start venturing out and start taking those steps towards newness, because sometimes too, when we start doing this type of, get into like that sort of like stagnant role or whatever, it's like we almost get to this place of like, it almost gives me like past living, it's just like we're just, yeah, I don't know how else to put it, Gemini, but I do feel like that once we realize that, just breathing in just some freshness or just some newness into our lives here can really make a world, of difference. But let's get into some Oracle cards. Let's get into all the Oracle cards here. They were excited. They were like, Justin, come on, let's get to it. So let's get to it, Gemini. Because they are ready. The messages are here. So let's see what are some messages from the Oracle deck. Okay, that's looking like one. Interesting. We got the memory in reverse here. And I think that with this popping up, I feel like it's letting go of, like old memories. I feel like we get into this, and what I mean by that is like the old way of operating, how we used to think that things used to be run, I feel like we're creating the same type of memories, and it's time to create some new ones. I feel like every journey, life should be the quest. Would be really, to live a fulfilled life is just to constantly create new memories. I think that would be a beautiful thing, to just to dream more, to allow yourself to just kind of feel more, and just like to like that sense of adventure, allowed to feel that wonder, more. Gemini, I think that we've kind of been cooped up or something, and because really, if you're not, because maybe traveling is not even your jam, and which I respect that, but if we have to do anything where we're going somewhere, it's like, going to the gas station, going to the grocery store, going to wherever you get your hair cut, whatever, switching it up, doing something differently here, because anymore. I think that something is trying to escape out of here, Gemini. You know, like something is trying to free itself, you know, from you. You know, I feel like you're that inner explorer is wants to venture out and wants to just kind of feel something different, you know, other than just the norm, you know, however we kind of painted our world. Let me switch over. So yeah, last thoughts on that, Gemini, and I know I'm hoping this is making sense. But yeah, I think that it's just really kind of just shaking things up, Gemini. I think things have gotten just a little stale. And I think that's we could be. I think you might be being an air sign. I think that some fresh air would help kind of clear things up. You know what I mean? And that could be something too. You know, maybe we've been, because maybe you're one, you work from home. You know, sometimes we get wrapped up in doing stuff. I'm guilty of it. You know, we get wrapped up in doing stuff. You know, we're getting in our own world here. Next thing you know, it's dinner. It's just like, oh crap, I haven't been outside. Maybe some of us might even start just getting outside a little bit more. You know, something to. If you find that the moment that you find yourself in a rut, Gemini, or that things are like you're getting like deja vu or something like that, it's time to shake it up. It's time to whatever means, you know, maybe washing different dishes differently, you know, something, you know, but let's breathe some excitement in our world. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. I hope you like that, and I do. I hope that it's a journey, you know. We're working through this energies together, but I hope that made sense. But give that a thumbs up. If you know someone who might resonate with this, Gemini, you know, anyone with their Gemini kind of placements, you know, sun, moon, rising, wherever, Gemini, you know, let's share this thing. Let's raise that vibration. Subscribe, hit that bell button. You'll get notified when I release videos each week. I am getting better about being on social media. It's been a lot, Gemini. I've been trying to balance some stuff out here, figuring out what I'm doing with the spreads and whatnot, but I'm getting there, promise you. You know, I can't ask people to grow if I'm not doing any growth myself. So put my money where my mouth is. And then lastly, not that you have any Cancer I was seeing if you had any of Cancer's cards, but if you have any Cancer placements or know someone, or maybe you're working with someone who does, you know, with someone who's a Cancer, check out my other channel, The Chariot and Friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. It's a good old time. We discuss lunar shenanigans and all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here so we can get you out of here, okay? So you got 2 of Swords in reverse, another one of Libra's cards here. And then you got Perception in reverse here. And I like that. Now, honestly, that's a cool combo, because I feel like if we've been in this place of where we know we want to shake it up, but then there's a but, and then whatever, like, you know, like if there's whatever, you know, reason we're telling ourselves that we can't do this thing, I say the next time, you know, that comes up, it's just like, okay, I think I want to go for a walk around this. And if you're like, well, I don't have enough time, okay, when will I have enough time? Okay, I'll have enough time probably around this little period. And then, you know, kind of play around with that, Gemini. Let's get this a practice. And I find, like, you know, with time, and it doesn't have to be anything aggressive, you know, like, let's just shake it up like once a week, you know, let's start there. You know, we got a whole month for this self-growth. Start there, start once a week, start feeling good, switch it up, you know, and maybe add another day as it makes sense, and then keep it on. Next thing you know, you're just juggling it up every day. It's just, life is just exciting, it's spicy, we loving it, and we're doing the most. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep that there, Gemini. You go out there and just have yourself a good old time. So, but during all this travel, be safe out there. You know, be mindful while we're out venturing about. And Gemini, while you're out there, you raise that. Oh, don't knock over tea, but definitely raise that vibration. And I will catch you on the next one later.